Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello Miss Galuh, how are you? I hope you are stay healthy and always happy in this condition. And yeah, don't forget to work out, sunbath, and consume fruits, vegetable, and vitamin. Now today I would like to fulfill my speaking final test about speech, and the topic that I chose is LGBTQ. Why I choose the topic? Because I think it's really interesting to discuss and we need to know about it also. Before I start, firstly I would like to introducing myself. My name is Verona Anggreni. I'm from morning class semester 4. So yeah, let's start. First is LGBTQ. It's one of the topic that is often discussed in the community and it often causes debate. But before we discussing about LGBT, it is important that we understand about concept of orientation sexual and identity gender, because these are two concepts relate to the term LGBT. First is sexual orientation. It is a term that refers to the attraction, whether sexual, romantic, and emotional of a person to another individual of a particular gender. And do you know um, sexual orientation consists of heterosexual, homosexual, and bisexual. And a person's orientation sexual is not something that can be chosen or changed. And next is about gender identity or identity gender. This term is used to define a person's gender. For example, a person define her identity gender as a female because she was born as a female gender. However, a person can also define her identity gender as a female even though she is actually define her gender as a male from birth. And after we knowing about the concept of LGBT, now we discussing LGBT in depth. Okay, LGBTQ or lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer is a social movement fights the movements. LGBTQ and their allies have long fought for LGBTQ. Right gay, right, right or gay right, and right gay and lesbian right. Okay, so queer, you know queer? Queer or non-binary is a sexual orientation that identifies itself with multiple genders. This can include all genders, and it's not a limit to gay, transgender, lesbian, intersexual, or sexual people. In order not to pass to on misinformation about LGBT, here I will give you some fact about LGBTQ. First is, can be LGBT contagious? Okay, a neurosurgeon specialist from Mayapada Hospital, Ruslan Yusni Hasan, emphasized that LGBT sexual orientation is not contagious. So if you have a friend or in your environment, your circle, there are any LGBT, you don't worry because it's not contagious. Okay, next is homosexual or LGBT is not categorized mental disorder. However, it can call as a mental disorder if it is ego dystonic, or people feel their sexual orientation is disturb her, so that psychological conflict arise. And LGBT is not a disorder or disease. That way there is nothing that needs to be cured or treated from an LGBT person. That a person talent being an lesbian, gay, transgender, or bisexual or transgender, a lesbian gay actually been formed since fetus in womb. Okay, and next is, can gay men have children? This this question is many people ask about this because it's like not normal, right? But if the guy man marriage with a normal woman, it's possible that they can have children. But if the guy man marriage with the guy man again, it's impossible that they can have a children, right? So it's normal if a guy man marriage with a normal woman, they can have a children. And okay, it's about fact about LGBT, and I will give a data about LGBT in Indonesia. In Indonesia also, the cases about LGBT is there are many that we don't know about that, but in the world, in this country, Indonesia, is there any guy or LGBT? 18%. And I will give the example. Okay, I will give the example. In some city in this world, in Jakarta, there are any party guy. Oh my gosh, party guy. And if you want join with that party, it's mostly men with men. If you will join or if you won't join with their party, you must pay a fee 185,000 if you won't join with the party. It's men with men. It's the cases in Jakarta. But in Bali also, there are two men, they marriage in in Bali, a man marriage with man in Bali, and the Balinese think that it's really not normal, because if we can marriage with a normal people like woman and man, why we must to marriage with man and man? It's not normal. So yeah, it is the fact, the data, and the example about LGBT that I can explain. And sorry if there are many mistake and misunderstand about this, about my explanation. So yeah, I think enough, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for watching my video.